Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, what is up? My name is Chantel, and if this is your first ever video on my channel, I would suggest that you stop the video in about 5 seconds while I tell you why you gotta stop the video. But stop the video and watch my last 3 videos. The first one being week-long get ready with me video as I prepared for my trip to Kyoto. The second video being part 1 of my Kyoto trip, and then the third video being part 2 of my Kyoto trip. Now, the reason why I'm telling you to go back is because this video is basically summarizing and putting all of that experience together into one video. There was a lot of things that you guys was able to see in my last 2 videos, but there was a lot of things that you guys didn't see. I took a bunch of notes while I was out in Kyoto, and I made a list of things that I wanted to notify you guys about, just to prepare you guys for when you guys decide to go to Kyoto. And so I hope this video is hella helpful to you guys. But like I said, if this is your first video, go ahead and go back. For those of you who are a returning viewer, what's up? Hi guys. Did you subscribe yet? Because if you didn't, please do. Don't forget to also like, share, comment. And yeah, let's get started on this video, shall we? I'm gonna go over like a few topics with you guys. So the first one is gonna be food. And just so you know, some of these things that I'm going to talk about, especially in the food section that I'm about to do, is not just something you'll find in Kyoto. It's something I found in other places in Japan too, like Misawa. But for this video specifically, because I am referring to the Kyoto trip I took earlier, I am only talking about these issues in Kyoto. So let's get started. As it relates to food, one of the things that I noticed in Kyoto is that things open at specific times. So most restaurants open for lunch, they close, and then they open for dinner. So if you are a person who likes to eat like me, you like snacks, or maybe you like sleeping in, you know, so you may have a late lunch or something like that. Don't do that. I know you're on vacation and you want to sleep in and you want to relax, you want to get up and eat when you're ready to eat, but you need to schedule your naps around eating, to be honest, because you're going to be hungry. Now, don't get me wrong, there are places that are open, like Family Mart, like McDonald's. I didn't see a Wendy's there or anything like that, but there might be Wendy's there, you know. If you eat McDonald's on the regular, you might not want to eat McDonald's when you're on vacation in this new exciting place. So keep that in mind. You do want to schedule your meals to be in those specific time frames, because if you're not eating in those specific time frames, you're going to be cranky because you're hungry. You're probably tired from walking like me, but you know, that was my experience, so hopefully that helps you guys out. Another thing that I want to discuss as it relates to food is that Google isn't always right. So what I mean by that is, you know, when you go on Google, you check your restaurant and you're like, oh, Chantel's restaurant, they open from Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you know, and then you go to Chantel's restaurant and it's Tuesday and it's 3 and they're not open, right? And the time on the door doesn't actually match what's on Google, because maybe they changed their schedule or something and it didn't update in Google. And then the last Google review was like a year ago. That happens a lot. So be aware of that. Another thing to be aware of is sometimes Google is right and the schedule on Google actually matches the schedule on the door, but for some reason the place is still not open and there's nothing on the door saying why, or you know, maybe they're temporarily closed. There's nothing. They're just not open. So that happens too, and that, you know, that happened to us. We was really excited to eat at this burger place and they was closed, and we didn't get there at like 5:30 when they were just opening. We got there at like 7 o'clock when they should have been open, you know. So just keep in mind that does happen. And I would suggest having a few places that you want to eat at. Lou usually picks, like, I'm gonna have to sit down with him one day with one of these videos, because he is the one who does the planning for the trips and stuff, and I just show up. So he usually, and he's a really big foodie. Like, I like food too, like I like to eat, but he is very, like, he will pick a place. We will go into a specific town because he wants to eat at a specific restaurant. Like, that's the kind of foodie he is. So he usually comes up with, you know, a restaurant every night. So if your spouse is like that, or you're like that if you're planning a trip, I would suggest have at least 2 restaurants just in case one falls through. The other one will hopefully be okay. But then also to make a reservation. If possible, make a reservation, because if you're trying to go to the latest, the hottest, when it comes to dinner, of course, if you're trying to go to the latest spot that has 5 stars or 4.5 stars and like people are raving about this place, most likely they're gonna be packed because everybody wants to eat there, especially in a big city like Kyoto. Everybody wants to eat there, and that happened to us too. So make reservations whenever you can. If you can find a number on Google, try to call and make reservations ahead of time. But sometimes, like I said, Google isn't always accurate, so you might have to just walk to the place or drive to the place when you get there and make a reservation for the next day or later on in your trip, which is what we had to do. Yes, everything we've done. Story time. When we was in Nico, on our way back, we went to a place because of course we didn't have a reservation. We wasn't looking for places ahead of time. So all the information I'm giving to you, we lacked. We didn't do any of this. So we just like, let's try to find something to eat. This is the day we went to the snow monkeys. So it was hella freaking cold. And we was walking around trying to find a place to eat. And of course, we wasn't within the time frames, but I digress. Anyway, we did find this place and they was opening soon, but the guy was like, hey, the way we do it here is you pay $55. And I'm translating, yen to dollars. You pay $55 a head and there's no menu. You just, we just serve the food. And great, cool. That sounds good if we were in, let's say Kyoto, let's say New York, let's say Tokyo, like a big city. But that was a small town, and I doubt that the people in that town was paying $55 to eat at a place that didn't have a menu. Like that, it didn't match the surroundings, you know what I mean? So it's like, how are you staying open, So for me, that sounded hella sketchy, hella fishy. And so we didn't end up eating there. We found another place that was really, really good and hella cheap. And we ate there and we had a good time, and we was just like relaxing. We was like eating, like trying to keep our eyes open because we were so freaking tired. But yeah, so, if something sounds fishy, definitely steer clear of it. Do not. Just don't. Let's go ahead and move on to the next section. The next section is budget/car rental. So I'm going to kind of like ease my way into that part of it. So the budget, we spent $3,061 on a trip. That include gas, food, hotels, and car rentals. We did 3 hotels. If you guys did not pick up on that, and we had a car rental from what's this place? The car rental place. I'm gonna get into that in a second. That money did not include souvenirs or clothes. So just keep that in mind. Now, as far as the car rental goes, and I will put something up on the screen to show the prices and stuff like that, we got the one that was $90 a day. For that one, I think if you for all of those vans, if you rent them over a certain time, you get 10% off. So we did qualify for the 10% off, and then those vehicles do come with vouchers. And the vouchers are for the tolls. Basically how that works is when you rent the van, the guy will ask you, hey, where are you going? You'll let him know where you're going, and he'll ask you, how many tolls do you need? Like, how many vouchers do you need? And you'll tell him. And I would suggest going up in numbers. Like, don't try to give him an exact amount. Go over what you think is going to be by like 10. Because what happens is, if you are on the road driving, obviously people get lost all the time. Now, trip to Kyoto, we got off the wrong exit like 3 times. So when you get off the exit, you have to pay to get off the exit, and then you have to get a ticket to get back on the exit. So, you want to try to account for like those mishaps where you miss an exit, or you get off at the wrong exit and then you have to get back on the highway. And just like any other place, the longer you're on the highway, the more expensive the tolls are. The shorter you're on the highway, the least expensive they are. So keep that in mind. Another thing you can do is, like, if a toll is short, like from here to I think Hatch, there's a toll of like $3 or something. If you're not really sure whether you're gonna have enough tickets, or if you're nervous about that, you can pay for that one out of pocket, right? And then use those toll tickets for the really expensive ones. I did write down how much we would have paid in tolls had we paid out of pocket. So if we would have took our own car and drove to Kyoto, we would have paid $550 in tolls. That's there and back. Now, we paid about $740 for the van. So $740 minus $550, you do the math, you know, basically, you know, we didn't pay that much for the van, right? It kind of evens out. So the car rental was worth it in our opinion. When you come to Misawa, or if you're already in Misawa, there are two places you can rent cars from. One is the auto shop, and I feel like it's normally like vans there, and there's different sizes and stuff. So I feel like that's what it is there. And then you can rent like smaller cars at this place that's right next to the BX. I've never rented anything from there. I don't know if they offer the vouchers the same way the auto shop does. So I can't speak on that, but at least you know you have two options. So if you're here, definitely check it out. We got the big van because it suited our needs. We had a bunch of bags. I don't know if I mentioned this in the other video, but one of the main reasons I love driving is because you can literally pack your whole closet. Yes, you can. And I love that. Like I don't have to weigh my bag. I don't have to, like, I could pack 20 different shoes. Like that's the one of the amazing parts about driving, right? Other thing is you could take your time, you make your own schedule when it comes to driving, you get to see the scenery, you could stop in a city, you could change courses if you want to, right? You have so much control when you drive. And then when it comes to the souvenirs, which we had a lot because we are sending boxes back home, like we don't have to worry about, you know, packing little souvenirs because, you know, we have to weigh our suitcases to get on the plane or anything like that. We can buy as many souvenirs as we want, and we did. We can buy as much of whatever we want, and that when I tell you that van was packed. But anyway, that's one of the main things I like about driving. I am a fan for driving. I would definitely suggest that before you guys leave Japan, or if you're visiting Japan, definitely take a road trip somewhere, go the back way, you know, go off course, stay in a local town, and really enjoy being in that space, you know, and soak it all up and soak it all in. It's really a beautiful experience. So hotels, that's the next thing we're gonna talk about. I already told you guys to stay at local places, right? And if you guys saw the video, which y'all should have, you guys saw the first hotel that we stayed at didn't have a tub. So you have to go to the onsen if you're going to take a shower. I know a lot of people are nervous about whether you can go if you have tattoos. Now, I have a tattoo here. I have a big tattoo on my leg. I have one on my ankle. I have one on my back. Like, I have tattoos. Being in that hotel and in that space, to be completely honest, I wasn't even thinking about my tattoos at all. Like, that didn't even cross my mind until, like, I came back home and I was like, wait a minute. That might be a question that people have. So I've had two types of experiences when it comes to onsens. We've rented a cabin and we had a private onsen, and then we had the hotel experience onsen, where it's not necessarily open to the public, right? But it is open to the people at the hotel. Now, when we checked in, no one asked if we had tattoos. There wasn't any rules or anything like that. There's no plaque outside. There's nothing that says you can't have tattoos or anything like that. When we were in the onsen, there was no, like, I didn't feel uncomfortable. I didn't feel like anybody was staring at me or looking at me like, oh, sis, you got a tattoo? We don't like that around here. Like, I felt really comfortable. And like I said, it wasn't even something that came to mind, which is crazy, right? So that was my experience with onsens. I do believe, like, if you are staying at a hotel, like I said, you have to go to the onsen. With the first one that we stayed at, because there was no tub, so it's like you have to take a shower, right? So just based off my experience, I think that if you come to a hotel here and it has an onsen, feel free to experience it. I don't think anybody's gonna have a problem with you having a tattoo. If I have any other experience that's anything different than what I'm telling you guys now, I will definitely let you know my experience. But so far, no problems at all. Now, let's talk about my favorite subject, the people and the places. While I was in Kyoto, I had this eye-opening experience. Like, it was just awakening of, like, wisdom. So here in Misawa, there's a lot of older people here. There's not a lot of young folks here. This will probably sound like crazy, you know, but it's a lot of Japanese people, I don't want to say a lot, there are Japanese people here in Japan, born and raised, that don't even know where Misawa, they've never heard of it. You know, that's how far north we are. So really think about that when you're going on these trips. It really did not like cross my mind, like how different these places are, right? So what I'm saying is, like, here in Misawa, people are more reserved, right? They're a lot older, you know, you're just about your business and you go. And so you might come here and you might feel uncomfortable wearing a crop top shirt because you're like, whoa, like, people in Japan don't wear crop tops. People in Japan don't wear, you know, jeans with holes in it and stuff like that. But actually, that might just be Misawa. In Kyoto, however, I was so appreciative. I felt so at home. Y'all don't even know. I was just appreciative of how much people were expressing themselves with their clothes and their outfits and like their hair and like all that stuff. And it was just amazing. It was like being in New York. If you've never been to New York, then you might not know, but like, people dress how they want. Like, you gonna dress how you want. You express yourself with how you dress. And it was the same in Kyoto, and I was just loving it, and I felt like I was in heaven. So I'm saying all that to say, I know if you come to Misawa, if you've never been in Japan and Misawa is your place of reference, just know that all of Japan don't dress like everybody in Misawa. It's not like that. Not everybody's like hella reserved when it comes to like their dressing and stuff like that. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to come here and wear your crop top or your mini skirt or whatever it is that you wear. Just be you is what I'm saying, you know, and that's okay, you know. Don't feel like you have to change for anybody else, you know. And yeah, so I saw this gentleman, right? This is in Osaka, by the way, that's where Universal is. I know in the video I had like Kyoto for like whatever day that was, but it was actually Osaka. But anyway, there was this guy in Universal, and Japanese boy, he was like a high school student. He had box braids, synthetic hair in his hair that were blue, and he had the ends, they was burnt. If you grew up in the 90s, if you're a 90s baby or whatever the case may be, you already know what I'm talking about. You know, you have the box braids, like, you know how they did like the bob with the burnt ends? It was like that, but it wasn't a bob. His wasn't in a bob. His was actually in a ponytail like mine. His was in a low ponytail. So he had his synthetic weave in with his little box braids with the burnt ends, and he had on his New York sweatshirt. It was like a New York overthrow sweater, and he had on his little baggy jeans. And I was looking at him, he was looking at me, like we made eye contact, and I'm like smiling, and then I'm just like, oh, I just love it. I just love how expressive people are. This one girl had on jeans, but one of the pants leg was like cut at the top to make it kind of look like a short on one side with the stockings. A lot of people had on like platforms this big, but they were still like this tall. And it was a beautiful experience. I really felt at home, to be honest. I wasn't like in my head like I would normally be. I was relaxed, and I felt like, damn, I'm with my people. That's how I felt. So, yeah. I think you'll definitely like Kyoto if you go there, especially if you're a New Yorker. If you will like it. I saw some guy peeing in the street. I did mention in one of my videos that like Japan is like there's alleys everywhere. Like every street is damn near an alley. And this is in broad daylight, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This man was pissing on the side of the road. Now, if you're a New Yorker, you've seen that before, right? So you know what I'm talking about. Exactly. Yeah. Some guy was doing that. Everybody's really nice. When we was when we went to one of the temples, the one where I was dying going up the steps, on our way down, some guy came up to us and asked us to take a picture with him. So that was pretty cool. In Kyoto, I mean, there's a plethora of different personalities, different experiences. Everybody was very respectful, very nice. We had such a good time. I'm just saying all that to say, like, if you are currently in Misawa and you're watching these videos and you haven't been outside of Misawa yet, get out of your head, girl. Get out of your head, bruh. I'm telling you. Get out of your head. Be you. You know, come show up how you naturally are. And the reason why I'm stressing that so much is because it's like I'm talking to myself. That was me when I first got here. And for a few months of being here, especially because, like I said, I was pregnant and I gained weight, and like there was that, and I kind of talked about that already, but like, it's like this is coming from experience, you know what I mean? So I understand how it feels to try to feel like you have to change, you know what I mean? So yeah, get out of your head, do you, show up as yourself, and yeah, enjoy Japan, enjoy Kyoto if you go. Definitely take a road trip. Definitely take a road trip. Like, it will be so worth it, I promise you. But that's all I have for today's video. I hope I wasn't rambling too much. Before I go though, I do want to say that I would like to create a Q&A video. So if you guys have any questions about Japan, if I haven't covered something about like what's on base or anything, a process for getting a car or a process for anything you're worried about or anything, any questions that you have, please leave it in the comments down below, or you can DM me on Instagram. My information is in the comments down below. If you don't know, anybody who's ever sent me a message, I email them or I send them a message back. Like, I always answer you guys' questions, and I try to do it in detail, but I'm putting it out to the masses because I answer your questions directly to you, right? So I'm not answering it on YouTube. So I want to be able to answer these questions on YouTube because other people might have similar questions, or maybe it's something that they weren't actually thinking about. And then like, if someone else had a question, like, oh yeah, that's probably true. Let me write that down, or let me plan for that or something like that. So that's why I am asking you guys to ask me any questions that you guys have so I can answer it on YouTube. I think that's it for this video. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, please. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.